Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. So real cheery stuff we're right here in the middle of with Tamar. And we ended yesterday where in her account where the Lord slew Onan for not being the Levir or the surrogate for Tamar. And so now he's dead. So Judah had three. Now he's down to one, his youngest son. And he basically is terrified that if he gives his youngest son to Tamar, that he'll die too. And so Judah, this is the thing. This did not please the Lord. Verse 11, this is Genesis 38, verse 11. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at your father's house until Shelah, my youngest son, is grown. For he thought, lest if he should marry her, he would die also, as his brothers did. So Tamar went and lived in his father's house. So Judah had no intention of giving Shelah to Tamar. But he said, go live as a widow in your father's house. If he had just released Tamar, then she could move on with life. But because he told her to go back to her father's house and wait until his youngest son was of age, then she wasn't released, and she's still bound to Judah's family. I'm telling you, lineage, family stuff was really important in Israel. So she's waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never happens. So let's pick up then verse 12. So Judah's wife dies, and Tamar finds out that Judah is going to a sheep shearing festival, and sets herself up to be taken by Judah. And so Judah thinks she's a prostitute, uses her, solicits her services, I think is one of the translations that we read. It's got to be politically correct. And then leaves his signet ring as a sign of promise that he'll give what he said he would in payment. So by Tamar, and I know, trickery and deception, setting Judah up, he fulfilled the law of the surrogate despite his refusing to do so. And, for whatever reason she did that, some of these accounts, I just cannot. And I'm so thankful that this is not where we live anymore, because I don't think I would have done well. But she could have done so many things, and they would have been displeasing in the sight of the Lord. She could have just said, forget about it. Judah is not going to do right by me. He's not going to send me his son. He's not going to take care of me. I'm just going to go on. But she honored the law of the Israelites, and she found a way to fulfill what was required of her. And Judah ends up saying that she is more right than I. And he realizes what he had done. And so after he realizes it, after he clears her name, because he started running his mouth about her, that she should be burned at the stake, that she was the one that had done wrong, that he had not done any wrong. Heaven help me. But he said, she is more right than I, and she lived in Judah's house, but he did not cohabitate with her any longer. And she bore twins, of course, Zerah and Perez. And one of the interesting things about her twins was the first one stuck his hand out and they tied a cord around his wrist, but then the other one, that he drew his hand back in, and the other brother came out first, and they named him Perez, the breaking forth. And Tamar, through Perez, is in the lineage of Jesus. Of all, not an Israelite, treated as a possession, held captive and unreleased, but she honored God. She honored and respected his law, and she is mentioned in the genealogy of Jesus. 4 women before Mary are mentioned, and she was one of them. And I think it's really interesting that it's Judah, because of course Jesus comes from the line of Judah. And you know, Judah was not the most honorable man. Not at first. He did come back around to it, but her story is one of just sit there with your mouth open. And because of the way in which she carried herself, and she was patient. You know, we don't know how long, or it may be in some research, but I have not seen how long that she lived in her father's house as a widow. But she was already a woman of age. She married and then Er, and then married Onan, and was waiting for the third one to come of age. But she just sat in limbo for years and could have chosen to do so many other things. But she honored the law. She honored God's way of doing things. And she is listed in the lineage of the Messiah. That's pretty cool. All right, we'll pick up her tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.